Welcome. This is Mr. Weary, and this is Intro to Theater. And this is the Greek unit. And in this unit, we're going to be talking about the Olympian Greek gods and goddesses. Before we get going on this, a couple of things. There's a couple of things about this unit, this lesson. The goals for this lesson is to identify the 12 main gods and goddesses from Mount Olympian, and also a couple of the subsidiary gods and goddesses. All right, so in mythology, the ancient Greek gods and goddesses, again, there were 12 of them, and they were called the Olympians. That's not to be confused with the Olympics, which Greece also did start, but they were called the Olympians. Again, there were 12 of them. We're going to cover all 12, but you may know some of these, you may not. We have Zeus, Athena, Dionysus, Apollo, Hera, Poseidon, Demeter, Artemis, Eris, Aphrodite, Hephaestus, and Hermes. Let's go ahead and get started with the most popular one that people know, and that, of course, is the king himself, Zeus, the king. Oh! So Zeus, of course, is the king of the Greek gods. He is the god of sky, heavens, the earth. He ruled Mount Olympus with his wife Hera. Now, while he did rule Mount Olympus with his wife Hera, it was also very known that Zeus, being married, he was also very, very, very popular for having liaisons with women, if you get what I'm saying. And he would have liaisons with all kinds of women all the time. The powers of Zeus, of course, are legendary. His thunderbolt, right, could be hurled and shatter mountains. His weapon of choice, of course. And, of course, he is the king of the gods. His wife, Hera, she's, of course, queen of the gods, wife to Zeus, ruler on Mount Olympus. And she was the Greek goddess of family, marriage, and childbirth. And as we keep going through the gods, I want to see if you guys can notice a trend between the men and the women. For the most part, there's a couple exceptions on that, but for the most part. There are lots of stories in Greek mythology, and we can't get into everything because we could take a whole unit, like a semester, a year, just doing Greek mythology by itself. So we're going to be very simplistic and very to the point on a lot of this. But there are a lot of stories in the Greek mythology talking about Hera's jealousy of Zeus, and raged a number of prompted vendettas against her husband for his numerous love affairs. And then we have Apollo. Apollo is the god of sun, prophecy, medicine, crops, music, light, and archery. And his job was to bring up the sun. So people believed in Greece, they honestly believed this. They lived and died by their gods. So they honestly believed this. They thought that Apollo in the morning rode on a chariot with 4 horses and drove across the sky and brought the sun into the air. And this ability was also part of the humans, the Greeks' explanation for healing as well. Apollo was a twin. He had a sister. Her name was Artemis. And Artemis was the Greek goddess of the hunt, archery, animals, and the moon. And just as Apollo rose and brought the sun up in the morning, well, they believed that Artemis rode on her chariot. Her moon chariot drove a pure white horses across the heavens and brought in night. Hephaestus is the Greek god of fire, craftsmen, and metalworkers. And he's the guy that would create all the armor, weapons, the thrones, everything that happened to do on Mount Olympus in that regard, he built it. He had super magical, amazing powers to build and wield metal. And as a result, they also believed that he could also do the same thing with gold, silver, and bronze. As a result of this, he is, for lack of a better term, could be classified as the first blacksmith. Blacksmith. He also made Zeus's thunderbolts. Demeter, she was the goddess who watched over plants and trees. She was worshipped as the goddess of agriculture. It was believed that she would teach men how to sow and cultivate the grain in the earth. And she was a lover, one of Zeus's many lovers. And they had a daughter, and that daughter was named Persephone. Persephone, when she was very young, got abducted by Hades, Zeus's brother, and taken down to the underworld. And there is actually a play out there by Fort Ainsworth that specifically deals with just that part of the mythology. Persephone's capture and taken down to Hades. Our next god is Hermes. Hermes is the messenger god. Is the god of the messengers, messenger of the gods. He is one of Zeus's actual sons. And Hermes would wear these golden sandals and carried this magic wand staff that he had just like intertwined with snakes. And if you look very carefully, you'll notice that that is the symbol for the medical field. Hermes was also the god of merchants, travelers, and gamblers. He was a bit mischievous at times. And of course, our old friend Dionysus. Dionysus, we've already met before. He is the god of Greek wine, parties, festivals, theater, of course, fertility. And his symbol was the grapes and a goblet, relating to the role as this god, his role as the god of wine. He taught mortals how to plant and how to plant grapevines and make it to wine. Makes sense, right? Makes a lot of sense. But as we met him before, he is most known for being the god of theater as well. And then we have Ares. Ares is the god of war. He loved to fight. He was unruly, ungovernable. He was he got in lots of different spats with all the different gods at different times. And in the stories, in the myths, these are just a few of the stories that came out of the time that Ares has supposedly started, which was the War of the Titans, the War of the Giants. He was also the god of spring, growth of nature, the protector of cattle, and he was a lover of Aphrodite. And we'll meet her in a minute. Ares is depicted as powerful, strong, and he rode a chariot drawn by 4 gold-braided, fire-breathing stallions. Pretty cool stuff, if you ask me. Ares, the god of war. And then we have his lover, Aphrodite. Aphrodite was the goddess, the most beautiful of all the goddesses. She was considered the goddess of love, beauty, and passion. Are we noticing a theme for the women yet? Zeus gave her hand in marriage to Hephaestus in gratitude for all the thunderbolts he was forging. However, while she was married to Hephaestus, she was a lover of Ares. And together they had a child. And that child was named Eros. And Eros, as you guys are reading down there, he is another name for Cupid, or the god of love. So that little guy Cupid, his real name is Eros, and he is the son of Aphrodite and Ares. And then we have the other brother, Poseidon. So there's 3 brothers, Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. And to make sure that they didn't clash with each other, Zeus took the heavens and the earth. Poseidon took the water. So he's the god of the sea, storms, earthquakes. Make sure you know that. He's known as the Earth Shaker. I'll say that one more time. He's known as the Earth Shaker. And although Poseidon was one of the gods, he spent most of his time in the water. And by doing this, he commanded his kingdom. Zeus had his kingdom, and Hades has his kingdom. And there's never a big crossover fight for domination. His symbol, of course, was the trident of power, and it had the ability to control water. For those of you here who like Aquaman, Aquaman, same kind of trident. And then we come to Athena. Athena is a very unusually weird god because she was adored by the people of Athens. Okay. Also, Athena was also a goddess who sprang from the head of Zeus, fully clothed and in armor already. She was considered the goddess of wisdom, the goddess of spinning and weaving, and she herself can make very beautiful clothes at times. And her importance cannot be talked about enough. The Parthenon, which is in Athens, is the temple in which Athena was worshipped in her day. It still stands there to this day, which is amazing. Think about that timeline, right? 5,000-ish BCE before Christ. We're in 2020. That's 2,000 plus 5. That's like 7,000 years ago that this was built, and it's still sitting there today. That is amazing. Speaking of the Parthenon, there it is. The magnificent temple on the Acropolis of Athens. It was built between 447 and 432 BCE. So sorry, I said my thousands. I was wrong. I meant hundreds. Silly me. So about 2,700 years ago. And it was dedicated to the city patrons of the deity Athena, like I said. It was constructed to be a house to worship her. And it was supposedly built by a guy named Phidias. And then we have Hesta. Hesta is the goddess of hearth, home, and family. She was worshipped every single morning and every single night because how it worked was they'd have the hearth in the home, and they would wake up and give a prayer to Hesta by putting fire into the hearth. And then in the evening, they would do the same. So they pray morning and night. She's also the goddess of the sacrificial flame, like I said, assigned by Zeus to maintain fires and the Olympian hearth. So when they do the Olympics, when they light up the hearth, that's basically a religious rite that was back when Hesta, they were worshiping Hesta. Every home has a hearth. It was dedicated to her. And every day they start and begin each day by doing a ritual for her. And then finally, I did not just pause. No.